Hi there folks, welcome to Dundee's Guitar World and welcome to my mobile recording studio. I'm in a different location today. My wife's out, so I'm in the living room. So this is part 2 of my UFO, the Paul Chapman Years series. It's like a Netflix exclusive, but you don't have to pay for it. And this episode is all about the guitar riffs on the first album that Paul recorded with UFO, No Place to Run, which was recorded in 1979 and released in January 1980. It's the very album here. Now I'll be doing all the riffs on this 1982 Greco EG 5660, which is basically a 56 Gibson Les Paul Gold Top copy with P90s. I like doing lessons on this because it's quite clear. I mean, it's not hugely overdriven, it doesn't have super distortion pickups. So when I'm going through the songs, I'll zoom into the guitar, which is beneficial in two ways. One, you'll be able to see what I'm playing a lot easier, and two, you won't have to suffer looking at my ugly face. So it's a bonus both ways, folks. So first song, side one of No Place to Run, is Letting Go. Now perhaps unsurprisingly, I do have an interesting story about this song. I remember my band Arizona, as I said, we were big UFO fans. I think some of our sets consist, that's S-E-T-S, not S-E-X. Some of our sets consisted of 50% UFO songs. And one particular gig we were playing was in a place called Kirkcaldy, which is in Fife, north of Edinburgh. Interesting place, Fife. And interesting place, Kirkcaldy. And it was a biker's tavern. It was called the Sinclair Tavern, and it was on a Friday night. But all the bikers had gone to a rally somewhere else, so there was hardly anybody there. It was like about 20 people there or something like that. And the guy who ran the place, the promoter, was obviously concerned about losing money. So I can't remember what we're getting paid. So I'll use some numbers just for an example. We were getting paid 60 quid, and he came and said to us about an hour before we were due to play, he said, I'll tell you what guys, I can give you your money just now, I'll give you your 60 quid just now, but I'm doing a special rate on crates of Castlemaine 4X. I mean, that's how long ago it was. He was selling Castlemaine 4X lager. So he said, I'll do a special deal on these Castlemaine 4X cases. I'll give you them for £7.50. I'll give you two for £15. So that was going to be a quarter of what we're getting paid. Of course, we were like, oh yeah, brilliant. We'll take two cases of that, fantastic. So one can leads to another. Oh dear. And I remember going on stage, and at this point I was using two Marshall 4x12s and a JCM 800, and I put all my cans that I drank on top of my Marshall, and I sort of looked over just as I started playing the opening chords to No Place to Run. I looked over and I saw all these cans, empty cans of Castlemaine 4X on top of my amp. And then I looked at my guitar and I thought, I'm really struggling here. I'm not sure what happened for the next hour, but you know, I'm sure the 20 people who were there had an interesting time. But it was one of those rare occasions where I thought, I've overdone the lager. And it was just at the very moment that I hit the first chord of Letting Go. So anyway, apologies for that, folks. Now, to make things easier for me, when I'm recording the lesson, I'm going to be wearing headphones. But I'll be zoomed in so you won't see them. But if you did, I'd look like that crazy bass playing guy, Davey 504. Slap like now. Checkmate. Anyway, on with the lesson. Now, Letting Go is basically just based around an A chord, so this is an A. Now I'm using the Neighbours BST100 plugin here in Ableton. I think this plugin is free. It sounds fantastic. Now, one thing you'll notice here, it appears that my arsehole neighbour is getting work done in the house. So there's loads of banging going on when I'm trying to record a banging video. I mean, how annoying is that? So we'll have to try and get through this difficult time. So that's an A. Now he plays, on top of the A pedal tone, he plays just 2-note chords on the D and G string. So it starts on the 5th fret of the D and G string, C chord, down 1 note to the 4th fret, which is a B. And then it goes back to the A again. And then it goes to the 7th fret of the D and G strings, down to the 5th fret of the D and G strings. The second time it doesn't go to the D and the C chord, it just goes back to the A. So the whole of that intro goes like this. Now there's a single note line which is the open E string. Hammer on to the 3rd fret of the E string, which is a G note, to the A open, and then hammer on to the 3rd fret of the A string. Bend that slightly and pull off to the open A. And then back to the G, 3rd fret of the E string. Bend that slightly, back to the A chord. So that goes like this. So play the intro so far. Now at the end of the intro, going into the verse, there's running up these power chords. It's just C, C sharp, D. And then there's a pick slide. As Phil sings, I'm letting go. And then it's into the verse. Now the verse is just the same as that intro. And the bridge part is just the open position chords. D, A, B, G, and then D again, A, and this time it goes to an F sharp, to the G, so when you're playing the F sharp and the G, you palm mute those and chug the chords out. And same again. Now this time the F sharp and the G measures last twice as long. So I'll play the whole of the bridge. So that was a bridge and the chorus. Now the only other rhythm guitar in the song is underneath the solo, and it goes like this. So what that is again is just 2-note chords, D and G string 7th fret, which is the D chord, over to the 9th fret of the A and D strings, and then down to the 7th fret of those strings, back to the 9th fret. And then an E to a D power chord. So it plays that 4 times, and then it moves up 2 frets and starts on the 10th fret of the D and G strings, over to the 12th fret of the A and D strings, down to the 10th fret. And then an F and G power chord. Now I think the second time he plays it, going back into the chorus, it goes down and plays these first position chords, F and G, and then it goes back into what the chorus, which is also the same as the verse riff. And the song finishes the same as it did at the end of the intro, just those power chords. So that's the first song done. Now after Letting Go on the album, it's Mystery Train, which is an old blues song Elvis did, amongst other people. Now Paul's finger style acoustic playing on this is incredible, it's really good. In fact, it's so good I can't play it. And it's just a 12-bar blues song basically, in the key of E, A, B. So I don't want to get hit for copyright on this video. So after Mystery Train, the next song is This Fire Burns Tonight. Now I really love the guitar sound on this. It's really big ringing chords. There's no information on what Paul was using here, but I guess Marshalls and Fenders in the studio maybe. But it's big ringing chords. There's not a huge amount of overdrive. Sounds great. So we'll bash on with that one. So This Fire Burns Tonight starts with a big G chord. Now the second chord I hear is the 4th fret of the D string and the 7th fret of the G string, back to an A chord. So I'll play that. Now when he's playing that second chord, you can hear he's grabbing, or he's hitting the A string underneath it as well, in an upstroke. The next chord is, keep playing the A with your first finger across there, but play the 4th fret of the D string and the D note and 3rd fret of the B string. So you're playing it like that. So you're playing the A, hammer those notes on, and then pull them back off. So that part is. Now the next set of chords is it starts with a G again, but then plays an F sharp major to a D, and then he has a suspension on the G, 3rd fret of the top E string. So that part goes. So those two parts for the intro go like this. Now when it's going to the verse, he doesn't do the suspension on the G. It just goes into the first chord of the verse, which is an A. Now he does that chord again. I say it's the open A, 4th fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the G string, and the 3rd fret of the D string. B string, sorry. To a G. Now it sounds like he plays a G chord, and then the second time plays just those, which is a D, G string open, and then the 3rd fret barred across the B and E strings. Into a D chord. Now he does the suspension again on the 3rd fret of the E string, but he also then does a run down 3, 2 and then open on the E, so it goes like this. Then to this C chord, which I'm just playing the 3rd fret of the A string, muting the 4th string, and then it's G, and then barred across the 3rd fret of the B and E strings. So it's a big ringing C chord. So up to there it goes. And then plays that again. And then drop the 3rd fret on the A string down to the 2nd fret, and then it catches the G note, the 3rd fret of the open E string, pulls that slightly back to the A, so the whole bridge goes. Back into the verse again. Now this time when it's going into the chorus, say it plays a C chord here, then down to the 2nd fret of the A string for the root note, and instead of going to the G after that, it goes to the A. So that part of the bridge goes. Into the chorus, which is a G chord, to an F, to a C power chord, to an A sharp power chord, and then over to the F power chord. So the chorus goes like this. And then back into another verse. And then there's a guitar break which goes like this. So you're playing the D and G strings to play the G chord, and then catching the 3rd fret of the B and D strings, that's how they're G. So you're playing them separate, it's not a big G chord. You're playing these first and then catching the second bit. Then you put your pinky down on the 5th fret of the G string down to the 4th fret of the G string. And then back to the G again. So I'll play that slowly. Once that guy stopped drilling. It's maybe a helicopter taking off. And the second part of the riff goes. So that's the 3rd fret of the G string to the 2nd fret of the G string to the open fret to the 3rd fret of the D string to the 3rd fret of the A string. So those first 2 parts go like this. The second time around it starts with the same first measure on the G, but this time the second part goes. So you miss out the open G note, it's just the 3rd fret and then 2nd fret of the G string to the 3rd fret of the D string to the 3rd fret of the A string. As I say, you're missing out the G in that run. So I'll play that all together. So that's the second song done. Now the next song, I'm going to take that hammer and stick it right up that guy's arse. So the next song, Gone in the Night. Now this is a sort of medium pace song. Quite a lot of keyboards, there's not a lot of guitar in the verse. But what it does have is, I think, the best riff on the album. And I'm controversial, folks. I don't think it's the best song. I don't think it's the best whole collection of riffs. But I think it's the best single riff. So shoot me down in flames if you disagree. Please let me know. Because if you ask me again tomorrow, something else will be my favourite riff on this album. That's how it works. So I'll play the riff in the intro of Gone in the Night, which is brilliant. Great, eh? So what that is, it's an E power chord, 7th fret of the A string, the 9th fret of the D string, a lot of heavy palm muting. Now the next chord is you leave your pinky on the 9th fret of the D string, but you stretch your first finger down to the 5th fret of the A string to that D note. Got to stretch that. Not a Paul Gilbert type stretch, but a stretch for an old guy like me. So play that again. The next chord, you move your pinky down to the 7th fret of the D string, and your first finger you move down to the 4th fret of the A string, and it's this chord. So those first 3 chords are. And the last chord is just a C power chord. Now the guitar may be hitting the open E string as well on some of those chords, just a pedal tone. I think it sounds better just with those, just the chords themselves without the open E. Now when the song starts going a bit, those measures only last half as long. So what a fantastic riff, one of the great hidden riffs of rock there, which you don't really hear the first time you go through the album. You know, you're just kind of paying attention to the songs, but once you break it down, that's a fantastic guitar riff. Quite tricky, quite a big finger stretch, but you know, certainly doable. So let's move on to the next track. Now the next track, first song on side 2, Young Blood. Now this was the first single. I've read that there's meant to be that Letting Go came out as a single, but I'm not entirely sure it did in the UK. But regardless, Young Blood definitely came out as a single. Came out on red vinyl, probably black vinyl as well. And the band were on Top of the Pops on primetime UK TV, miming away with Andy Parker right at the front and Phil Mogg at the back. It's like a reverse stage thing. That's what happened on UK TV. Madness, let I tell you. So Young Blood, quite a simple song to play, but a great tune, quite a commercial song, which obviously because they were on Top of the Pops, it was quite popular by its very name, popular. Now Young Blood is mostly just played on bar chords on the 7th fret. It's just a E power chord and a B power chord, and it starts on the B. So you're just playing really 2 strings, 9th fret of the A, 7th fret of the E, and then palm muting. So what you're doing is you're moving your pinky from the 9th fret of the A string when you're playing the B chord, and then moving it over to the 9th fret of the D string, but you're really concentrating on the 2 notes on the 7th fret of the E and A strings. So I'll play that again. And then when it goes into the verse, it goes to the E power chord. So again, that's a similar thing. You're playing the E on the 7th fret of the A string and the 9th fret of the D string, and then palm muting, and then you lift up your pinky, so you're just playing the 7th fret of the A and D strings. and then over to the B, same pattern. So I'll play that verse. And then going into the bridge, it just goes down to an A chord. And then quickly to a D, back to an A. To a B. And then it's a quick E. Back to the B. Back to the A. And then a D and A again. So I'll play the whole of that bridge. And it goes back to another verse. To a bridge. Into the chorus, which goes to an E chord. So it's an E, then an A, then a B. And that's all the main rhythm riffs for Young Blood. Great tune, eh? Fantastic tune. So moving on to the title track of the album. No Place to Run. Now there's some killer riffs on this one, like, and the guitar breakdown that Paul plays on the acoustic, very tricky to play, might I tell you. Now there's somebody at my door, and it was a bloody parcel for my wife. It wasn't even for me. If I get this video finished, it'll be a miracle. Where was I? Yeah, the acoustic guitar breakdown in the middle of this song. It's very tricky to play, might I tell you. So I'll go through that a bit slowly, not on the acoustic, on the electric. So let's forge ahead. So the first chord of No Place to Run is an F. Now I think he's playing it without the second fret on the G string. I don't think he's playing that A note. And then it goes to a D chord. 2 Fs. So the verse is an A, and it's a pedal tone on an A. And then the chords he's playing over the top of that, it's an A itself, and then an E to an F to a G, back to the A. So the A chord is just this normal A chord, and the E power chord is just the 2nd fret of the D string and the 4th fret of the G string, up 1 fret to the F chord, which is the 3rd fret of the D string, 5th fret of the G string, up 2 frets to the G, which is the 5th fret of the D and the 7th fret of the G string, back to the A. So play that slowly. So there's a lot of palm muting going on here as well, and when he's coming back to the A chord the first time, he's sort of hammering the A chord on. So play that whole thing. And then there's a bridge part, which is just a D chord. And then he actually takes the 2nd fret of the G string off that chord. Plays it like that, hammers back on. And then he stops on the D, and then there's a run that goes like this. So it's the 3rd fret of the A string down to the 2nd fret, to the open A, to the G, to the open A again, finishing on an F, 1st fret of the E string. And then back into the verse again. And then the chorus is the F and D chords again that you played at the intro. Now for the solo, the rhythm guitar still plays the same chord pattern but moves down a string that goes to E. So it's E to B to C to D power chord, back to E. And then comes the guitar break, which Paul plays on the acoustic, As I said, this is very tricky. So it's played like this. It's an open E string, and then the 7th fret of the A string, open E again, and then the 5th fret of the A string. Then you need to move your hands down, play the open E again, and then it's the 5th fret of the A again, pull off to the 2nd fret of the A string. And then you pull that 2nd fret off to the open, hammer back onto the 2nd fret, and then it's the G, 3rd fret of the E string, pull off to an open E, and then back to hammer from the 5th fret of the A to the 7th fret. Now the second time it's slightly different. It doesn't do the hammer on from the open A back to the B, it just goes straight to the G, pull off to an open E, back to the hammer on from the 5th to the 7th fret of the A. So do the whole thing so far. And then for the third measure, that's the same as the first one. And then the last one finishes like this. So it's just 5th fret of the A string, pull off to the 2nd fret of the A string, 3rd fret of the E string, pull off to an E chord, and it stops dead there. The whole band stops. So play that whole breakdown. Play it slowly. And then back into the main riff again. So the last song I'm going to do today is the second last song on the album, Money Money. Now this is definitely easier than the one we've just done, so we'll have a go at that just now. This starts with octave notes up here on the 12th fret of the D string. I'm playing the A string open, down to the 11th fret of the D string, and then down to the 9th fret of the D string. Now there's some flanger on that, and it's just Paul playing on his own. Then when the band comes in, it moves up to a D pedal tone, and again the same sort of octave notes. And then the verse goes to a D chord. Now you can hear as well as playing the chord, he's taking his finger off the 2nd fret of the top E string down to an open E, and then hammer back on to the 2nd fret of the E, and then the 3rd fret of the E back to the 2nd fret like this. Back to the A octave. The next chord is a C. Now what he does there, he keeps the C note down on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then moves his pinky over to the 5th fret of the G string and plays those 3 notes. So the end of that is an F chord, F power chord to a G power chord. So I'll play the whole thing. There we go, that's most of the riffs from UFO's No Place to Run album. I left a couple out, a couple of the tunes out, but I think I picked the most prominent ones, and I hope this video helps you if you're trying to learn UFO songs, particularly Paul Chapman era UFO songs. So thank you for your patience, folks. Speak to you soon.